Hello, and welcome to the C3 Method podcast with your host, Robert Plenick. I am joined today by Katie Jones, who has done a little bit of everything. So, we're going to get into your background a little bit, but you have a swimming background, you've done powerlifting, you've done, I think, 10 marathons, maybe more,
11.
11 marathons. And recently we've gotten into doing some Ironmans. So, can you give us a history of what you have done? Like, what have been your sport adventures over the years?
Yeah, so I started swimming when I was around 5. So
Ooh,
swimming has been my lifelong sport. And I did start swimming competitively at 5. My mom was my coach, which I mean, she swam my entire childhood. So I think she was a big motivator in getting me
yeah.
into the sport. So swam from age 5 all through college. And then I started running cross country in 7th grade. So I've also been a runner for practically my entire life. Um,
Yes.
and I ran all through middle school, high school. I took a year off my first year of college, but I did do 3 years of collegiate cross country as well.
Oh, wow.
Which, when you go to a D3 school, I went to Westminster College in Pennsylvania, and with a D3 school, you tend to be able to do more than one sport. So
True.
that was really cool. The season overlap was hard though, because there's about a 2 month span where swimming and cross country overlap. So
Which was like the end of the season, and which was the beginning of the season during the
so
overlap?
cross country would be ending and swimming would be starting.
Do you feel like that was good to build up like endurance for swimming?
100%. And that's
Okay.
where my coaches were phenomenal and they sort of let me take the lead on like what swim practice I needed to go to based off of what the cross country practice was. So if I
Oh,
did
cool.
like a long run in the morning, there was no need for me to do 2 swim practices that day. So
True.
but yeah, I think that though doing those 2 sports set me up really well for the sports I'm into now.
Yes, that's for
um
sure.
yeah, but before I get into triathlons, I did do power. I have done powerlifting, 3 meets, official meets, and then a couple of like in-house meets here and there. But I think I started powerlifting, was it like 2020? Is that when we started working
I
together?
believe so, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess I've been lifting, like doing powerlifting for almost 5 years, which is crazy. Time
Yeah, it. I
flies.
think it's kind of fun because a lot of the swimmers I work with, they're in a broad sense notorious for being uncoordinated out of the water.
Yeah.
So it's fun to see a swimmer embrace heavy lifting and actually do powerlifting as well. I think that's probably one of the most like dichotomy type situations
Mhm.
that maybe people wouldn't have recognized.
Yeah. And I see a lot of swimmers, they either just like, we do water sports, that's what we do. We do
Yeah,
not run. So the fact I was a
true.
swimmer and a runner, I think some people are like, huh. But now I feel like it's becoming more of a thing. I think all my old swimmer friends are slowly transitioning to the running world. But
Yeah, there's a lot more hybrid training now getting popularized.
yes, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's mostly about me and my history. And
Mhm.
right now we're in triathlons. Did my first 70.3 this past June
Yeah.
and a lot more to come.
Yeah, that was super exciting. Yes.
Yeah.
So what is there anything that you can think of specifically that whenever you and I first started working together, you had been running marathons and you were interested in powerlifting.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, how do I blend those? So we blended those and did them pretty well. What made you interested into getting into the triathlon?
So a long time ago, like in my early 20s, I just knew I wanted to do an Ironman at some point. I think
Mm,
it is the fact that I had the swimming background and the running background. My mom was a triathlete for a period of her 20s as well. So
okay.
I think that's knowing she did that was a little bit of the inspiration. But I think
Mhm.
if, after working with you and seeing that I can be an endurance athlete while still lifting heavy and being strong. It
Mm,
sort of pushed me into this world of like, I could do any endurance sport and still be strong. So I think knowing that I could do marathons, like full marathons, and still be super strong, still compete in powerlifting, I was like, okay, the
mhm.
next challenge, let's go to Ironman,
Yes.
do an even longer endurance event while still trying to maintain some strength. And obviously, being stronger prevents injury. So they went hand in
True.
hand. So Yeah, I think it was just seeing what I would be able to push my body to do, and we did
Mhm.
it.
That's pretty awesome. Are you generally driven by trying to push your body or maybe like push your mind? Like, what is a driving force for you to do things that are relatively miserable?
So, for the longest time, I would always say, like, I don't like change. I don't love like new things. That's false. I love trying new things. I think as I've gotten older, I've like really just accepted that I just if there's a new challenge, I want to do it. Like I see it whether it's someone I know or something I know like my mom has done or just people around me. I have a lot of very fit and active friends, so sometimes I'll be
That's great.
like, "That's so cool. Look at them doing this. Like, can I do that too?" And most of the time, if I really want to do it, I will make
That's
sure
awesome.
it's done. But
Yeah.
it's like the new challenge. Like I said, I've been swimming and running my whole life. I've sort of met some of those goals. I can always be better, always be faster, but I've never done a triathlon until this past year. So something new.
Exactly. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think that's super exciting. And I think it's great that you had that parental influence as well. It's hard to ever decipher between nurture versus nature, but there's likely going to be some role of both components. It's really cool that you had that as a motivating force, like through your childhood as well.
Yeah, she was always up early working out, so I get that naturally. That the 5
Mhm.
o'clock alarm that I have lived by for the past 10 years, my
Yeah,
mom did the same thing. So,
that's
um,
awesome.
so I do think there is something seeing as a young child, seeing how much my mom valued her health and
Mhm.
being strong, being fit has definitely um, pushed me to do the same. And honestly, I hope I can do the same for my future children as well. So
Yeah,
it definitely was a great role model.
that's pretty cool. I know a lot of parents. Just by the nature of being a parent means you have an extra responsibility, you have your child, or maybe more. They often struggle with how to prioritize their health
Hmm.
while also meeting the demands of life. So I'm wondering if you could give, the listeners a little bit of a breakdown. How do you manage scheduling time for training, time for nutrition, time for relationships, time for work? Do you have an overriding theme or do you just kind of take it day by day?
So I have to schedule it. I think that is my biggest suggestion to everyone, regardless if you're a parent, you have a partner, you have a dog, or you have a busy work schedule. The only way your workouts will get done is if you write it down and you make a plan. Um, like not planning at all, it's easier to just walk away. It's easier to
Oh,
not
that's
get it
true.
done if it's not something you've committed to. Um, like I've emailed you at the beginning of some weeks or at the beginning of a new cycle, and it's like, here's what I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Um,
Hmm.
and sometimes I even note like the caveat, like if I work late this day, this is where I'm moving this bike or this run. So I
Yes.
always say, even if you're working out 3 days a week, what days are you doing it? Write it
Mhm.
down. Um, we all have smartphones of some sort. Put it in your calendar, have it set an alarm, pack the night before, make sure everything's ready. But I would say my overarching suggestion is plan it because once it's planned,
Yes.
it's harder to walk away.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea because oftentimes people will say to themselves, "Oh, I want to do this," but they don't necessarily set a time to do it. And then also, what I worked on for myself is also marking down the duration.
Yes.
Often people will kind of misassume the length that something will take. They'll either say, oh, I'm going to do it at this time, but they only allot 10 minutes and maybe they actually needed 30. Or they don't schedule it because they think it's going to take longer than what it really takes. And
Hmm.
that can seem kind of like a negative towards being consistent with it.
Yeah.
So scheduling when, but then also how much time it takes is extremely helpful as well.
Yes. Agreed.
Yes.
And that was a big thing. And I know like people are at different levels, but for my Ironman training, I always underestimated my bike, like how long it was going to take. Um, I would get to where I was, and 3 hours later, I'm getting off the bike, and I was like, oh my gosh, I totally planned this wrong. So I completely relate to that. But I always say schedule when you know you have a little bit more time than what you think, especially if you're new to working out or you're new
Mhm.
to getting into a consistent routine. If your mornings are super stressed and rushed, maybe find an evening workout time. Or
Yes.
not people don't love this, but maybe wake up 30 minutes earlier. Give yourself just that extra time to get to the gym, have your coffee, make sure you're eating something before you get there. And once you have it set and you know how long your workouts are, it's a lot easier to schedule those blocks of time.
Yes, and I think that's a good key too. Is what you're alluding to is you kind of have to take action and start experimenting, and
Exactly.
then once you've taken action, you can then refine. A lot
Mhm.
of times, people want to make a perfect plan before they've ever experienced anything, and it's like, how do you even know what to plan for yet?
Right, right. And that was honestly like I can relate to that because going into Ironman training, that was the most training I've ever done. And
Hmm.
I think when we were sort of revving up and like figuring out when I needed to do two a days, I could really relate to someone who hasn't planned a workout into their schedule and how
Yeah.
overwhelming that would feel. So it is true. You just sort of have to go for it and start small. Start scheduling 2 days a week, see how
Yeah.
that fits into your schedule and then add on to it. Or even if you have like a more flexible Saturday or Sunday, get to the gym, do the workout, time it out, then
Mhm.
schedule it the next week, maybe during a work day or just you got to go after it and try it and then like you said refine as you learn.
Yeah, there's a good book resource called Elastic Habits, and the author's name is Stephen Guise, Guise. And that was a really good book for me because one of the things that he talks about is giving yourself levels of how something can be met. Meaning there's like the perfect scenario, there's the good enough, and then there's the, hey, at least I did something. And I think if people take the approach of, okay, I want to work out on X day, I have X amount of time, but this is what the best would look like. I would also be okay if this happened, but if it's the worst day ever, I'll at least do this.
Mhm.
And then if they get surprised by how long something was going to take, maybe the traffic was a little bit longer than they thought, it was just too much time getting in and out of the gym, they can make some adjustments but still feel successful. So that book, Elastic Habits, I think is a really good resource.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I would
Mhm.
really enjoy that book, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah. And then there's also, he also wrote another book, same author, called How to Be an Imperfectionist. And that is really good if somebody is what's the term, procrastination, I forget the quote,
Yeah.
but basically they don't do anything because it's not going to be perfect,
Yeah.
and it's just learning it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be better than what you've been doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, what's the saying? It's like you said, nothing, something is better than nothing. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, now how do you manage your nutrition? We talked a little bit about scheduling training, but what do you do with nutrition?
Plan it out. I think planning and being proactive is key. And I think that having a coach or having someone to sort of brainstorm this off of has really helped me. Um,
Mhm.
I think looking at my fitness journey from we could even say my early 20s till now, I was a notorious like under fueler throughout the week. And then
Yeah.
would be like I would eat everything in sight come Friday through Sunday. Um, and it was evident, like you can look at my performance over the years and you can see like I am more fit and healthy now than I was when I was 21.
Yeah, which is wild. Yeah.
And that's all due to nutrition. I mean, obviously, we could look at training and be specific there, but
Hmm.
nutrition is all about planning. I do use my Fitness Pal. I do track. Um, but as you know, I'm not a super consistent tracker, but I do use it as a reference point. So
Yes. Yes.
I'll go through phases where I track pretty consistently for 2 weeks. Once I know those numbers sort of fit in to what I need,
Hmm.
I know what I need to eat and I just eat it. But I think the thing you and I have talked about is timing of food. And
Yes.
that is what I've had to plan. I can hit my calorie goals, I can hit my protein goals for the day, but looking at when you work out and when you're eating, like I work out at 6 in the morning. If I'm not eating enough calories until 12, I haven't
Yeah.
given my body the fuel it needs to recover for whether it's a second workout that afternoon or even my workout the next day. So I think for
Mhm.
me personally, nutrition, I will say it's something I don't have perfect at all. Like it is still
Mhm.
something each week I plan out. I sit down on Sunday with my fiance and we plan out our dinners and I plan out my lunches. He's along for the ride. He eats what I eat, which is really nice.
That's fun. It's nice to have that support.
Yes, yeah. So we plan it out, and then from there, I travel all day for work. I'm in my car, so I can make sure each time I'm in the car, I look at the clock, make sure I'm eating before a certain time, and I have
Hmm.
my food in my lunchbox to make sure I'm fueled for the day.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful, like, and great approach. I have a question for you. If
Mhm.
somebody was listening to this and they're like, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to have to live by a clock. I don't want to have to be that regimented." Often, like what I think is the alternative is to be unhappy and not meet other more possibly important goals.
Yeah.
Like, do you ever struggle with the motivation or the discipline to stay on top of your nutrition and training?
So I've definitely fallen off. Like I think about like after I did the Chicago Marathon a couple of years ago, I took some time off of running. When I took time off of running, I think I also mentally checked out of my nutrition as well.
That's common. Yeah.
I was lifting heavy. I was pretty successful with lifting, but I felt like bleh. Like I just didn't
Mm,
feel good. So there's moments where yes, I'm rushing out the door and I need to make sure I have enough protein for the day. I need to make sure I have enough carbs to refuel from my workout. It would be easy to grab like I don't know, grab a Pop Tart. Like I could grab something easy, but then I really do remember back to how bad I felt. And
yes.
that's I would say my motivation, but I also think it does come down to habit. Like I do tend to crave certain items that I schedule throughout my day. Like
Oh,
when
that's
it's
good.
getting close to like my protein shake, I'm like, "Yes, I'm ready for it." But I do agree with you. It's either you're a little uncomfortable in the planning process and then you're really happy because you're meeting your goals,
Yes.
or you're hungry or feeling
Yeah.
fatigued because you're not fueling with the right things. But I think personally, like for me, I I'm always hungry, so I'm always ready to eat. So I always want
Yeah.
to make sure I have the right stuff on hand because if I don't, I know I'm going to reach for something that's not going to make me feel great.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was a roundabout way of just saying
Oh,
it's
that's
better
great.
to plan.
Yeah, I think that's like I love real answers.
Mhm.
And because people will look at your background and they'll listen to you talk and they're just gonna think like, oh my gosh, this woman's a robot, or I'm not built like this, or I have struggles, and these people seem to have everything perfect. And it's never the case, ever.
No. Yeah.
So the people who I've gotten to work with, who are all the way from beginners all the way to professional athletes, they have very similar struggles. I have never met in over 3,000 clients, I've never met someone who didn't have an issue or a struggle or a challenge.
Right.
It is just universal. Everybody has something to overcome.
Mhm.
And for people to hear what yours might be is helpful. And then also to hear that you're aware of it, you account for it, but you do what you need to do anyhow. That is
Yes.
also helpful.
Yeah. And I will say, like, some weeks, some months are easier than others. And
Hmm.
it's always, there's always things going on. Like, I think sometimes when I think about nutrition or helping other people with their nutrition and fitness, is everyone's busy and everyone has different priorities at different points in their life. And I think sometimes our priorities shift. So, like,
Yes.
for example, next year we're planning a wedding. So I have a
Yay.
feeling that's going to take precedence as we get closer to the date. Um, and I think at that time, well, for me personally, I will probably be focusing on what I can control, which are my workouts and my nutrition. But I think some other people, it's easy to say, I don't have the mental capacity to handle this, and they push it to the side. But
Mhm.
we all struggle with those types of things. And I think that if you can get into a habit of whether it's fitness, like your workouts or your nutrition, when life is quote unquote like calmer or
Yeah.
easier, it's so much easier to control it and keep it going through those busier times of life.
Yes. And I think also understanding what contributes the most to what you want. So,
Mhm.
for example, nutrition, when you have the mental capacity for it, we might want to track calories, protein, hydration, and timing, like the distribution throughout the day. But if you're getting ready for a wedding and you're going to this event and that event and meeting with this person, that person, you might start to say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to track calories and protein today, and
Mhm.
I'll consider that a success.
Yeah.
So being able to modify depending on the capacity a person has emotionally, mentally, time wise, resources, even like money.
Yeah.
Just being able to modify, but also understanding what are the most important driving factors for each thing. And that's
Mhm.
challenging. I mean, that's where a coach or having somebody to bounce some ideas off is helpful.
Mhm.
But I think that helps people avoid the all or nothing mindset is,
Yeah.
oh, if I can't go to the gym for an hour and a half, I'm just not going to go at all. And it's like, well, if you had 20 or 30 minutes, why in the heck didn't you just do something for 20 or 30 minutes?
Yeah, exactly. Or like instead of tracking your food, making sure you have a carb, a veggie, and a protein at dinner. Like it can be that simple if you need to simplify it that way. It's like you don't have to have the app out and tracking every single calorie if that's not what your goal is. But if you're training for like bodybuilding, that might be something you have to do. So it's like,
Yeah.
which I'm sure you're fully aware of.
Well, you're right though, and it is like different training goals have different demands.
Yes.
Like powerlifting, for example, one of the clients I was talking to recently, she had to switch her training days around because she was traveling with family.
Mhm.
And she didn't realize if she trained on less recovery, she was going to have a lesser performance.
Yeah.
And just making like learning those moments, learning those adjustments is extremely helpful. And that goes back to like we were saying is people just have to take action, try stuff, and be willing to learn as you go. You're not going to have all the answers when you start.
Right. And I think you and I have even gone through some trial and error with certain things.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, especially during that Ironman training and sort of seeing what my body could handle. And I think all of fitness, because like our bodies are changing, our lives are changing. Every training cycle or every new goal that you're setting, your life might look a little bit different. So your
Mhm.
approach to it has to change. And I think it's like, I know my advice was plan it, but plan it with the understanding it's okay if you change it, but it's also great to have a coach that can help you with those changes.
True. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now you've gotten into helping people and like you want to actually dive even more into that.
Yeah.
And I think because you've lived it is
Hmm.
going to help you be such a great coach because being a good coach is more than just this is what to do.
Yeah.
It's how do I do this when I have all the other things in life going on? How do I do this when I'm stressed? How do I do this when I'm tired? Learning how to implement the program is as important as learning how to write a program.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now,
Yeah.
have you enjoyed working with other people? Has that been like a fun motivator for you?
Yeah, yeah. So I have some history of coaching swimming. So I coached swimming for about 5.5 years.
Oh
And
wow.
I have been coaching at a gym in Pittsburgh. I coach a class there, and I've been doing that for the past 4 years. And I mean, I love just the interaction with people and helping them come closer to their goals. Um,
Mhm.
I would love to do more of a one-on-one basis. My history has been more like group fitness. And swimming obviously is a big group, and I coached from ages 6 up to 18. So it's a
Oh
very
wow.
different, yeah, very different group of people compared to working with adults.
Yeah.
But I really, I mean, you have had such a positive impact on me and my journey with fitness and nutrition and just like my life as a whole. Like, I just never thought I would be 30 and accomplished all of those goals I did in the past like 5 years, which is just crazy.
It's
So
amazing. Yeah.
I hope to be a coach to someone else who has big goals that they want to reach towards because I know what that feels like. Like I know the excitement and the desire, and I hope
Mhm.
I can be that person for someone someday to help them reach those goals.
Oh yeah, and that's a wonderful underlying motivator is having done it yourself, having felt the difference, and then just wanting to share that with other people.
Hmm.
That was a big thing for me, and what got me into coaching was actually I loved working out,
Mhm.
and somebody would see that I was dedicated or I was doing something. They're like, "Hey, what are you doing? And why are you doing that?" So I would teach it to them, and then they would be like, "Oh, wow, this is really cool." And I'm like, "Well, that felt fun," you know. So just simply helping people felt good,
Yes.
and then realizing that that feeling is addictive. And then I also realized that the more I helped other people, the more it exposed me to new information that actually helped myself as well.
Yeah.
So it's a good feedback loop. Is as you help other people, you tend to just be more motivated and excited yourself, and then that kind of promotes and grows your learning as well.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I've learned so much through what you've programmed for me. Our friend Jared has also taught me so much. Like I said earlier, like I have so many friends that are crazy fit and just really at the top of their game from like their sport that they do. And
Mhm.
it's just I've learned so much from them. And I know any athlete that I work with in the future, they'll be able to teach me as much as I can help them. So I'm really excited to potentially have that opportunity.
That's great. Yeah. Now, did you have you naturally developed those friendships, or was it something that you were proactive about?
I think just naturally, I met a lot of people through the gyms I've been a part of. So I used to do CrossFit and I met some friends in Pittsburgh through that CrossFit gym. Some of my friends are friends that I used to swim with in college. Honestly, social media too. I've just sort of made like friends. Like I have a group of girls I run with that we all connected through Instagram.
That's so
Um,
fun.
yeah, so and it does involve putting yourself out there. Like
True.
these girls sent out a message being like, "Hey, we have a long run on this Saturday, come." And I was like, "I don't know any of you, but I'll go." And
Yeah.
it's like sometimes in those moments it might be a little uncomfortable, but like putting yourself out there, getting into the community that you want to be a part of. Like
Yeah.
I want to be a part of the Pittsburgh running community as much as I can. So putting myself at those races with the people who are having these run clubs or these run groups. And even at the gym, just talking to who's around you. It's very easy to just have the headphones in and get it done. But sometimes just chatting with who's around you, you make some really cool connections and friendships.
Yeah. And I think that's a really cool overriding theme so far. It's unintentional because we didn't plan any of this.
Yeah.
Is just the idea of taking action.
Hmm.
So if somebody wants to get into like better friendships, take action. Just throw yourself into it. If you want to get into healthy eating, throw yourself into it and figure it out as you go. Same
Yeah.
thing with training.
Yep.
So I think that is a motivator for anyone listening, and they're wanting to make a change in their life is to be proactive.
Mhm.
Often we, if we sit and wait for things, you might be waiting until the end of time.
Yeah.
So it is important to take action towards goals, even if the person doesn't know what the heck they're going to be doing. Just take
Right.
a step forward and see what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I always remind people like the being uncomfortable is temporary. Like any situation,
Mm.
whether it's training, whether it is starting a nutrition plan, maybe going to a run club or going to a new gym. Like that uncomfortableness you feel is it's not long. Like it's short-lived, like sometimes depending on what the situation is, but
Yeah.
reminding yourself that like the outcome that you'll get from a little bit of being uncomfortable is worth it.
I love that. And you've had a lifetime of that being proven to be true for you.
Yeah.
And that I think is wonderful because that can be challenging when people are later in life and maybe they haven't had a life story that would support that. It's
Mhm.
challenging to create the confidence out of thin air to try something if they haven't had that as a reinforcement. But being able to hear people who have tried it, who've had positive experiences, can at least give them hope that that is possible for them as well.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, I've had a lot of experiences of putting myself out there, trying new things, and it's so worth it. Like anyone listening, like try the new things, sign up for the race, reach out to the coach. Like it is so worth it. Just do it. I mean,
Yeah.
you'll be very happy with yourself in the end.
Yeah. Now, speaking of this, since we're on the topic, I
Yeah.
usually wait till the end, but we might as well throw it out there. If somebody was wanting to reach out to you and say, like, oh, wow, I love her vibe. I love what she's been able to do. She seems down to earth. She seems like she's actually going to care about me.
Yeah.
How would be the best way for someone to reach out to you?
Probably on Instagram. My Instagram is at kjones1419. So I would say DM me on there. As I potentially can get more clients, I will have probably a different avenue to connect with. But right now, we'll stick with an Instagram DM, and I'm on it pretty regularly, so I'll see it.
That'll work. And then also, if any listeners want to message C3 Method, I'll connect them through our
Yes,
business as well. Yeah,
perfect. Sounds
yeah,
great.
that'll be great. I think it's fun. It's you've been able to accomplish things that a lot of people think are binary, meaning you can only do one or the other.
Mhm.
And you're a wonderful, wonderful example of how that isn't the case. I think that's going to give people hope that they can do more than one thing, or they can do kind of limitless. And you'd be a fun resource for them to learn from.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, it's been I mean, after I connected with you and you were like, "Yeah, let's do it." Like, I think I remember your response when I was like, "I wanna be strong, but I also wanna run marathons." I think your response was like, "Hell yeah, let's do it." And I was like,
Absolutely.
"Perfect." Because I do think that at least back when we started working together, this hybrid training wasn't as popular.
It
So
was not. No.
it just felt like I couldn't find anyone who was willing to help me reach my goals because I didn't know how to go about it. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, it's been great. And I definitely recommend this like powerlifting, hybrid training, endurance training to anyone because it's so fun.
Yeah, and I think it's really cool. It's also a fun way to, if somebody understands the value of strength training, but it's not really their cup of tea,
Yeah.
they can blend it into other events and things that they do enjoy. So a
Mhm.
lot of times, if I'm working with somebody who's a runner, they may not like lifting, but they've had chronic injuries or small little nagging annoyances, and they understand they need to strength train in order to better endure the running, but they're
Yeah.
not motivated by it. It's like, well, doing a hybrid gives you a little bit of what you like with a little bit of what you need. And knowing that that's actually an approach that's possible, I think is motivating for people.
Yeah, for sure. And I will say, I don't have any wood to knock on, but let's just say my body has been very healthy since I've started this whole hybrid like lifting and endurance training. I've been very I don't know if lucky is the right term. We've been putting in the work. That's what we're
Hopefully, it's not luck. It's maybe a
it's
mix
not
of
luck.
luck,
It's
but
the
yeah,
work. It's the work and the training, but
yeah.
it's I mean, a huge difference. I mean, before I started working with you, I ran, oh gosh, ran my first marathon in 2014 and I
Oh,
was
wow.
18 I was yeah, I think it was 18 years old. And I only ran. Like I ran and swam obviously in college, but I had so many weird little hiccup injuries here and there throughout those
Mm.
years because I was only running 6 days a week.
Oof, yeah,
Yeah, but now I know better, but it is you can do what you wanna do, like running, swimming, biking, whatever it may be, but lifting always helps.
absolutely. Yeah, that's strength is never a weakness, is a
Correct.
good quote. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Before we wrap up, is there anything that you wanted to share specifically in the podcast?
Huh.
I'm putting you on the spot, but I
Hey, you
don't
put
want to
me on
like
the spot. Let me
close
think
out with
here.
missing anything.
Um, I took some notes. I'm just looking here. Honestly, the one thing I wrote down in my note was planet in all caps. So
Love
we
it.
talked about that. So I think the biggest thing, like I guess to wrap up everything I shared, it's like set a goal and plan your way towards it. So if
Nice.
you want to do a race, 5K, half marathon, an Ironman, sign up and then just start planning the stepping stones to get there. Um,
Mhm.
but yeah, and if you want a coach or you want anyone, Rob's a great resource, and then hopefully
Yeah,
me
Katie,
as
you'd be great as well.
well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's along with the planet is to encourage people to recognize you're not going to know what you're doing when you start. Just
Yeah.
take an action. Take an action. And
Yes.
a great first action could be reaching out to Katie.
Yeah.
But that would be a big thing is don't wait for everything to be perfect. Just start into the mess of it. And like you said, being uncomfortable is only temporary.
Right.
So get uncomfortable so that way you can get successful.
Exactly. Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's so worth it. I mean, it's hard. Like that first step you take is the hardest one. But
Yeah.
once you make that step, whether it's reaching out to a coach, officially signing up for a race, deciding to like hone in your nutrition, once you make that first step, you've now like you're walking in the right direction and it gets easier from there.
Absolutely. Yes. Okay. Well, before we wrap up, one more time, can you give us your Instagram handle?
Yes, it's at kjones1419.
Awesome. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining us today and getting to talk to everybody. I think it's going to be great for everyone to hear your story and be motivated by what you were able to achieve. So hopefully they can achieve some awesome stuff as well.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Great. Okay. Thank you.